I'm talking to the lovely Tabitha from The Maid in Chelsea. Welcome to Mogul, love.
Thank you for having me.
How are you doing? You look super glam, and it's quite early. And you're a mum. So how do you look so glam?
I luckily don't have the babe this morning. She's at her daddy's house. So I try and do all of my work on the days that she's with him. And we are doing at the moment 50-50 custody. So yeah, I've sort of got 3 days a week to get all of my stuff done. And then the other sort of 4 days a week that I'm with her are like manic, crazy. And I've got my hair up in a messy bun and in my gym fit normally.
Normal mum, yeah, with like your tracksuit bottoms, your jeans on, you're absolutely shattered, things like that. So I know, yeah, I remember those days well. Yeah, very tiring, but lovely at the same time, aren't they? So
exactly, it's very rewarding.
Yeah, oh, that was lovely. So I just need to ask you, like, what was like the best bits of your childhood? Because, you know, as you say, you've got lead a glamorous life, but was your childhood like that?
It's really difficult to think back and also to compare it to anything because it's all I knew at the time.
Yes.
So but when I think back now, I'm like, God, what a privileged childhood I did have. So I grew up from a split household as well. Same as my daughter. But I've got two siblings, so I'm the middle. And I've got a sister who's a year older than me and a sister who's 2 years younger than me. So we were all sort of very similar age and were with single parents from, I think I must have been as young as 4 or 5.
Okay.
But it's all I knew. So I never sort of felt like a downfall to me or anything like that. We'd sort of go on holiday with mummy, go on holiday with daddy, and sort of be at school in between. And yeah, it was a lovely upbringing, I think.
And it just felt, as you say, just felt normal then, and that's what you knew every day. And you know, as you said, if you're quite young as well, like from 4, as you say, you wouldn't know any better. So yeah, as you say, that was a norm to you. So, but you say if you had a lovely childhood, that's lovely, and it's nice to have the memories of a lovely childhood, you know.
Exactly. And also mummy was in the country, so we had the best of that, sort of like long weekends, playing in the garden, being outdoors a lot. I like farms, fields, woodlands for miles and miles and miles. So there's no sort of walking to a village shop or anything like that. And then my dad was always in sort of Chelsea, Parsons Green. So I feel like I grew up in both places. So I got sort of the street savvy, I say street savvy, Chelsea street savvy side of me. And then also I can quite happily put my wellies on and go and muck about in the field.
Oh, that's what a lovely childhood. And as you say, with your children, or hopefully your more children maybe to come, you know, you can actually go out and take them, as you say, they can see the best of both worlds as well.
Exactly. I mean, I think I'll definitely bring Ottilie up in London, and her dad is definitely going to stay in London as well for work. I'm more city than I am country, but it's so nice to know that my mum, who adores Ottilie, obviously, it's her only grandchild at the moment, to know that base is always
excited. Yeah, she must be absolutely, she's going to be spoiled rotten.
She loves her so much. It's very sweet.
Aren't they? Yeah, it's lovely. So you're a single mum, and like, what's sort of like the most hardest thing and the most rewarding about it? How are you coping?
I'm coping better than I ever imagined. So I've only been a single parent for less than a year now. So my ex and I split up when Ottilie was, I would say, just over a year old, and she's almost 2 now.
Yes.
And the way that we have managed the dynamic has been really, I've been really impressed with both of us, and I'm praying that it stays as well as and as amicable as it has been so far. But he lives very near to us. And we get along very well. If he has work commitments, we sort of shuffle our days about, and I take her for longer. If I have a call, for instance, like now, and I couldn't get childcare, he'd come and take her to the park for an hour. Like, we're very compatible, and we are very understanding of one another's commitments. And also, above anything else, we both just adore her.
Yes.
And one of the best things that I think we've done is we try and do either one meal or one walk together as a family a week. So when it's because basically, so when I mentioned previously before, I grew up from a split household, but the difference was my mother and father they didn't speak, they didn't get along, they just had no relationship at all. So my life between them was very, very separate. And I'm not saying it's necessarily a good thing or a bad thing. I just would prefer my daughter to understand us as a family rather than feeling a little bit removed and a little bit on eggshells between us and things like that. So yeah, so we go on a nice long walk on a Sunday, or we have a Sunday lunch together, the three of us as a family, and it's really nice. It's sort of my favorite time of the week, and it's nice to catch up with him as well, because you go from sort of living with somebody and it being quite toxic, and then officially deciding that you're breaking up, then suddenly not really talking to them at all. And you do, even though things might have got really bad, you do miss their conversation and their lifestyle and things like that. So it's healthy for me as well.
Yeah, as you say, it is healthy for your daughter to see. As you say, you don't want your children growing up with arguing, and it is hard sometimes, because sometimes you've got to hold it in. But that's so lovely. And do you think you'd ever get back together, or?
No, definitely not. And that's actually another really rewarding thing now. If I'm at his house sort of looking after her while he's got a virtual call or something like that, and we start bickering and we just start getting on each other's nerves, which happens often. It's very much sort of like, I'm off now, I'm going to go back to my space, and you take yourself out of the situation. And it's so much healthier than living on top of each other and going, I'm going to go and sit in a different room, and then you have to eventually come out with your tail between your legs.
There's nothing worse than that, is there? Yeah, you can feel the atmosphere, and you're like, oh, you don't want to go to the room. As you say, at least if you've got both your homes, and you can just go home, and it's brilliant. As you say, happy days.
Exactly. And I didn't want Ottilie to see us fighting either, so it's definitely working well.
Both worlds. Oh, that's so lovely. Yeah. And as you say, you can see you seem happy, and as you say, I mean, it probably wasn't for you before, but as you say, like, if hopefully things now are working out for you.
I'm a lot more confident and content in myself now. I think, and I'm not saying it was his fault at all, but I was very self-conscious, very reserved, I was very sort of worried all the time. And I'm not sure why. But now I've only got myself to answer to, and I feel so much happier and more confident.
Oh, that's good. And as you say, it shows. You can see it shines through that you seem really happy and you're confident. And sometimes, as you say, with relationships, it teaches you about your values, who you are, the type of person you are, and it does help you grow. So I think if I could say to you, like, any tips, just learn from your relationship and what worked and what didn't, and grow from it. And as you say, and find it's like learning about yourself. And I'm sure it won't be long. You'll have guys tapping on the door.
I don't know, because we've been in lockdown, there's obviously been zero attention. There's been no chance of meeting anyone new. And I have got this scared thing in the back of my head that it's just going to be me and Ottilie forever. And which obviously there's nothing wrong with that, but I have been really missing companionship.
Yes, it is. It's just nice to have somebody there, isn't it? Go watch the telly, or talk about what was on telly, what happened, or what's going on in life,
or even just to sit with and not talk to, just to have company.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And you mentioned recently, just trying to stay positive through the split. And we are kind of a nation of saying, yeah, I'm fine, everything's okay, and we don't open up enough. But what are you doing to sort of to stay positive?
I have literally just been taking each day as it comes, and I feel very fortunate in the fact that I think our split was a long time coming.
Yes.
But we didn't recognize it as something that had to happen because of coronavirus, and because of looking after a newborn, and because of his work was being closed and things like that. So it was very difficult to sort of recognize what was the right thing to do and what was a matter of circumstance. I think staying positive was a lot easier to do because I had to, when you're a teenager and you've broken up with the person that you think is the love of your life, and I certainly did it, I would spend days in bed and not turn the lights on, not open the curtains, and you genuinely have that sick feeling in your stomach, like life is over and that you'll never find happiness again. And
Yes.
honestly, I think I did an interview a couple of years ago and they said, what's the best lesson you've ever learned? And I said, I think heartbreak, because I do honestly think everyone needs to go through it at some point. What's very unusual on this occasion was I didn't get that darkness and that hit. And for a long time, I say a long time, it's been less than a year, but I was waiting for it to hit me. But when you have a 1-year-old who comes in and sees you in the morning and sort of puts a little hand on your face and like, and also you can't wallow, you can't lie in bed, especially during a pandemic. You know, there's not loads of social stuff that you're like feeling very intimidated by. It's literally just you, your baby, and your home. And you have to get up in the morning, you have to get yourself dressed, the baby dress, you have to get yourself, keep yourself both clean and fed, and you have to go to the park and have an outing. And like it's almost like it wasn't my life. My life didn't. You're a mother. My life doesn't matter as much as hers does. So it's not a case of masking my feelings. It's a case of, I think, prioritizing. I think for me, and it's been so easy to remain upbeat because Ottilie has helped.
Yes, I think, as you say, having your child there. I wrote a book recently, and it's sort of like time to sort of start a new chapter. It's called The D Word. When he's got to go, he's got to go. But we've got a stellar team, and what we're doing is, like, as you say, if you're going through divorce, separation, or even if you are single and you're just not sure how to start again and rebuild your life, I brought in so many experts and to sort of give you a roadmap from like here to here to make your life feel better, as you say, because it is tough. And if you have got a young child, it can be quite difficult. But as you say, when you see the little face in the morning, it's like it kind of like takes away some of the pain, and you're like, it's just beautiful. So I think having children around or pets just makes you feel a little bit better, and you're not alone then.
It certainly does. It gives you the motivation to sort of get up and out of the house. I mean, don't get me wrong, there have been tears and there have been low moments, and there have been sort of questions as to whether this is the right thing, and am I being selfish to my child? It's all the normal feelings that you I'm sure every single parent has gone through. But yeah, overall, she's really kept my head above water, and she's amazing because she has no idea that she has.
That's
this
so
little
nice.
1-year-old.
That's so cute. And as you say, just you've got the best bits there, because you say she's 2, and from 2 to about 10, it's just so funny with my son. He's just cheeky, and you'd see little things they'd do. And I must admit, one time we went to the supermarket, and I think he was about 8. He went up to this lady and pinched her bum, and I'm like, she looked at me, and I was like, God, is she gonna like slap me or tell me off? And then she went, well, I was quite pleased, no one's done that for years. But then she looked at her, she went, oh, okay. So what little devil. So they will surprise you, the things they come out with. Honestly, I could have wished I was a black hole and I'd fallen through. So little monkey. So
that is excellent.
But what's the most surprising thing that's happened in your life?
The most surprising thing, I mean, Ottilie was a bit of a surprise, but a very sort of happy one. The most surprising thing, I think, when I started filming Made in Chelsea, because I'd been in conversations with them for years, so had always sort of been on their radar. And then I had just broken up with Ottilie's dad, in fact, and they called me sort of the day after we broke up and said, are you interested in filming with Dad? Because they're never interested in bringing on anyone new if they're in a relationship. For obvious reasons, because it's complicated for the storyline and things like that. I said yes, now more than ever, why not? I'll just go in head first. And they said, okay, great, so we'd love to get you on set tomorrow, and then we're flying to Croatia on Tuesday, and we'd like you out there for 10 weeks for the summer series. And I was like, I need a bikini wax, I need a spray tan, I need a pedicure, I need to pack. And this was in April, I think. So I was sort of like, I am not bikini ready. And sort of within a week later, I was on a beach doing a bikini scene. And it's like, so yeah, I would think that is, everything moves so quickly in the land of Chelsea.
Oh my goodness.
So that was one of the most surprising things in my life.
As you say, like through such a terrible time, as you say, you and your partner split, to then like something so incredible. So yeah, wow, like what, Yeah, what a different world is it? I always say is one door closes, another one always opens, but yours open very quickly. So it's very surprising.
Exactly. I mean, in hindsight, it was probably quite a rash decision because I didn't actually process any of my emotions. I literally just went head first into something. But I think it was what I needed at the time.
Yes, yeah, good time, yeah, very good timing. So, and what's the funniest thing that's ever happened to you?
Funniest thing that's ever happened. It's probably going to be a messy nappy situation in public, isn't it? Just
Yeah,
just something dreadful like that. I think I was in Miami airport, and Ottilie must have been only 4 months old.
yes.
Yeah, and that was just awful. It was just everywhere, all over me, Daddy, Ottilie, like everyone, and it was just not good.
No, that's yeah. You say portrayed like this lovely image glamour, and then you're like, oh no, what is this?
And it's things like, and you're just like, oh, I didn't realize there was poo on me there. That's really great. Horrible.
I saw was it my son, I was going to a wedding and had my dress on ready to go. I was like not late, but you're trying to rush in out, and then quickly changed his nappy and he decided to wee all over me. I'm like, honestly, timing, seriously. And as you say, you haven't just got this dress, I've been out and bought it. I was really excited to wear
can
it.
only laugh. You can only laugh.
Exactly.
They haven't done it on purpose. I mean,
no, it's like seriously.
too much.
But you must tell me about the cast. Who's like the most outspoken, or who's the most controversial?
The most outspoken. So I haven't filmed for. Last time I filmed was about a year ago because of the pandemic. I haven't been away filming, but Liv, definitely, my daughter's godmother. I've known her my whole life. She is 100% the most controversial, I would find. And I think they cut out most of her controversial comments because they are unairable. And she's just this beautiful little tanned blonde. Well, she's not blonde anymore, she's brunette, but like just gorgeous and so put together. And then she'll just come out with the filthiest comments and you'll be like, oh,
What, how filthy? What, really bad?
I can't even say, just awful. And like, yeah, she's hysterical. And then also just around people that you probably shouldn't be that outspoken around, like around her father. She'll just say anything and it's like
is it like cringe? You're like, oh no, what are you talking about?
It's less cringe and more sort of like jaws to the floor, like, oh my god, I can't believe you've just used that word.
And I have to ask you, what businesses are you involved in? So you do a few things, don't you?
I do a lot of things, and yeah, I sort of have my toe in a lot of different pools, but I'm very careful not to get involved in anything that I'm not super interested. So I'm really interested in the reselling of clothes. Basically, the fashion industry is my biggest sort of passion, I guess, after being a mother. I just love all things pretty clothes, especially summer wear.
Yeah.
But the fashion industry is not sustainable at all. It's just a not sustainable industry. And that's quite frankly it. But there are ways to make it more sustainable. So there's you can rent beautiful clothes now that are good as new. I mean, I can't tell you the amount of times I've bought a dress, worn it once, and then it's just sat there in my cupboard. But now you can physically rent a piece, so you don't actually need to buy it. Or you can rent out your own pieces. So those pieces that I have only worn once, you can rent it out to other people. So that's something that I'm super passionate about. And then there's another company, Ottilie's dad's company I'm involved with at the moment, which is, so he actually owns nightclubs.
Yes.
Which obviously has been a huge impact to our family income over the last year and a bit, because the nightclubs have all been closed. But he's been very resilient, and he has got a company called Pokey the Bear, which is on Deliveroo, available in quite a wide area of London, mostly Kensington, Chelsea, Clapham, Battersea, around there. And it's poke bowls, which is Hawaiian cuisine, rice, raw fish, very healthy, and they've teamed up with lots of nutritionists, and things like that. But I've been involved recently because I have developed with their head chef a poke bowl designed for children.
Yeah.
Which has actually been so well received. They're developed so they're weaning friendly. So Ottilie can eat everything with her fingers. None of it's going to be choking hazard. All the vegetables are prepared soft, so that she can chew on them super easily. The rice is sushi rice, so it's really sticky and sensory for her fingers. The salmon is poached, and I just feel so happy knowing that she's having something that's not full of sugar, not full of salt, and is going to be with me in 10 minutes. And I'm really proud of myself for putting that all together.
No, that's great, as you said, because I mean, I just say I haven't bought baby food in a long time, but you said it used to be in jars and things like that, and to be honest, you just don't know what's in there. And as you say, you kind of like want like the good food, like salmon or fish or whatever. As you say, you want to know what they're eating, and as you say, if they're using their hands, that's lovely. So Tabitha, can you tell me what you think, like with women in the workplace, why it's so important?
It is so important, and it almost frustrates me that it's an issue. And I think that I've been very naive for a long time in the fact that I didn't think it was an issue. And I probably don't have enough experience in the workplace to have recognized that it was an issue. I also think that women in the workplace is just as much of an importance as men in the workplace. I also think that these female founded companies that will only hire other females, obviously they've obviously done their research and I'm sure it's brilliant, but I just genuinely think that we need to stop thinking about people as male and female, and we need to stop paying them as males and females. I just think that you should hire the person who is perfect for the job.
You're great at your job, you're good at what you do. It doesn't matter like who you are, what you are. As you say, if you're good at your job, you're a nice person.
Yeah, because I don't have those views, it's very difficult for me to comprehend that other people might think like that. Go, oh no, we can't hire that person because they're a woman, or oh no, they can't do that job as well as a man, or yeah, let's hire that woman because we'll be able to pay her less. Like,
yes,
it's almost like fiction for me. It's very confusing. And yeah, I really, really hope that this whole mindset is just going to be eliminated very, very, very soon.
Agreed. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And but like, it's been so lovely to talk to you, and thank you for joining us at Mogul.
Thank you for having me.